Okay, so part of this is that hitch up. You could only use that combination, that phrasal combination of hitch up to, or to hitch up with, if you were thinking about connecting something to something else, like a hitching post. So you might hitch your uh, horse to the fence post, and that's like tying it to the fence post with a rope. So to hitch up would be to do that. That is to connect two things together in some way. Also, if we're talking about proportions and fractions, one half of the total, then this phrase to make up a half of something is to say that whatever that is forms half of something, to make up half of something. So it's partly an idiomatic use of make up. Yeah, so it's because we're talking about fractions. No, it's about proportions. They make up, that is, they form less than one half of the total. They make up less. So it's like it's a synonym of form or account
Form.
for less than one half.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Form. For example, can we say form
form.
less
Yeah,
than?
you
Yeah.
could. They form less than one half of the total. They account for less than one half of the total. Um, they
Great.
represent less than one half of the total.
And also this one.
Mm.
Well, yeah.
So if they've undergone a shift, that means they've gone through it. So they've they've been transformed in the same way. They've experienced a similar shift, gone through a similar shift. Um, you, it's a weird thing that countries can experience. Um,
Countries can see,
they
countries
can
can see.
see a similar shift. They can experience, they can undergo.
Undergone. They can
Yeah.
undergo. Yeah. And what
Yeah.
kind of shift we are referring to here?
Based on the context, it's a demographic shift.
Mm.
So previously, um, many more men went to university than women. But now more than half of students at university are women.
Yeah.
Less than half are men. So that's a shift, a
Even
change.
in UC, the same University of Sydney is the same.
Yeah.
Okay.
It varies a bit between disciplines. So health sciences has always had more women when compared to like engineering. But there are more women in engineering now than there used to be. There are more women in law than there used to be. And
Yeah.
then in traditional like arts and humanities has historically had greater proportions of women. There are now even more women
Mm.
in in those fields. So
Yeah. And also,
I think the word underachievement, because it communicates an expectation as well as the fact that that expectation hasn't been met, it's hard to get a full synonym. Um, yeah, that's right.
mm,
They're not reaching the level that they would be expected to reach.
so
Well, in this case, they're saying it's not seen only in figures for entry. So firstly, men aren't entering universities or higher education in the numbers that you'd expect. You'd expect it to be 50-50. Half of the entrants would be men, half would be women. So they're underachieving because they're not getting to university. But then they say, but also in non-continuation rates or dropout rates. So we also see more men drop out when they're studying, and they also aren't getting the best marks.
mm,
They're getting lower marks, I should say, rather than fewer marks.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.